You don't need to be a bodybuilding champion. You don't need to want to be an action hero or anything like that. If you want to excel in whatever you do, those rules are for you.
If you care about your success more than anyone else in the room, I promise you this, you will be successful at some point in time.
We never went to school hardly at all because we were bruised up. He also believed in just us working the family business. So going to school really didn't happen for me at all.
People ask me all the time, what is the secret to success? And I always tell them what the short version is, you got to have a 22-inch biceps. And you got to be able to kill predators with your bare hands. And of course, you got to have this charming Austrian accent. That's a given. The long version is that I actually always had 5 rules. You don't need to be a bodybuilding champion. You don't need to want to be an action hero or anything like that. If you want to excel in whatever you do, those rules are for you. So my first rule is find your vision and follow it. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you just drift around. You're not going to be happy. I grew up after the Second World War. Austria, right along with Germany, lost the Second World War. There was, of course, depression. There was a terrible economic situation. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to escape. And luckily, one day in school, I watched a documentary about America. I knew exactly that is where I wanted to end up. The question was just, how do I get there? How do I get to America? No one had the money to travel or anything. But one day, I was fortunate enough to see a bodybuilding magazine. And on the cover was this very muscular guy. Mr. Universe becomes Hercules star. His name was Reg Park. I read the article as fast as I could, learning about how he grew up in Leeds in England, poor, and how he trained 5 hours a day, every single day, and trained and trained and trained, and then he finally became Mr. Great Britain, and then became Mr. Universe. And then he won a second Mr. Universe title and a third Mr. Universe title, and then all of a sudden he landed in Rome in Cinecittà, doing Hercules movies. And as I read, I became more and more certain. I had that vision very clearly laid out, to be a champion on that same stage where he won the Mr. Universe, and then to move to America, then get into movies. From that moment on, everything that I did, no matter how hard I had to work or how much I had to struggle, it didn't matter, because I knew what the purpose was, and I found my passion. Always discover your vision, and the rest will follow. Now my second rule is never ever think small. You have to go and shoot for the stars. I didn't just think about being in movies. No, I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to have above the title billing. I wanted to become the highest paid entertainer. I basically wanted to be another John Wayne. What's wrong with that? Never think small, think big. My third rule is ignore the naysayers. I think it is natural that when you have a big vision and big dreams and you have big goals, that people are going to say around you, I don't think it can be done. I think it's impossible. I mean, it started right away when I was 15 years old and I became a bodybuilder. Right after the top when I said, I want to be a world champion in bodybuilding, I want to be Mr. Universe. They immediately said, are you crazy? Bodybuilding is an American sport, forget about it, it's nuts. And then when I wanted to go into show business, after I won 13 world championship titles in bodybuilding, I said, I want to be like Reg Park. I want to be a Hercules, I want to get into movies. Well, I tell you, when I met those agents and managers, their reaction was, oh, Arnold, that is so funny. You want to be what, a leading man? Oh, come on. I mean, look, first of all, let's start with your body. You're gigantic, you're like a monster. And then your accent, oh, it gives me the chills just listening to your German bullshit. Come on now. Have you ever seen an international movie star with a German accent? It doesn't happen. Forget about that. And then your name, what is it, Schwarzenegger or something like that? People are going to storm the theater and the movie houses because Schwarzenegger is starring in a movie. Oh yeah, I can see that already. Imagine that. Everywhere I turned, they said, no, it won't happen, it's not going to happen, and forget about it. Luckily, I did not listen. I started taking acting classes, English classes, even accent removal classes. I ran around all day saying lines like, a fine wine grows on a vine. All of a sudden, I got a little break. All of a sudden, I got a TV show, a little part. then another little pot, and then pumping on and stay hungry. And then, of course, I landed the big role of Conan the Barbarian. So finally, I got the big break. And you know what was so interesting about it was the director said at the press conference, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger with those muscles, we would have had to build one. And then when I did Terminator, James Cameron said, the I'll be back line became one of the most famous movie lines in history because of Arnold's crazy accent, because he sounded like a machine. So as you see, everything that the naysayers said was a liability became an asset. Ignore the naysayers. The fourth rule is work your ass off. You never want to fail because you didn't work hard enough. It doesn't matter in what area you're in. No pain, no gain. Listen, when I came to the United States, I remember that I trained 5 hours a day, every day, and I was managing a construction business, and I was a bricklayer. And I went to college also. And I took acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 o'clock midnight. Every day I did that. Work your butt off. That's what I always believe. No matter what you do, work, work, work. And my fifth and last rule is, don't just take. Give something back. Tear down that mirror that makes you always look at yourself. And you will be able to look beyond that mirror, and you will see the millions and millions of people that need your help. And this is why I tried to take every opportunity that I could to give something back. I started training Special Olympians. I started after-school programs for the most vulnerable children, for inner-city children, to make them be able to say no to drugs, no to gangs, and no to violence. We all can create change, whether it is in our neighborhood or in our local schools, because the bottom line is, it is up to us. Have a vision. Think big. Ignore the naysayers. Work your ass off and give back and change the world. Because if not us, who? If not now, when?
Maybe it's my fault. Maybe I led you to believe it was easy when it wasn't. Maybe I made you think my highlights started at the free throw line and not in the gym. Maybe I made you think that every shot I took was a game winner. That my game was built on flash and not fire. Maybe it's my fault that you didn't see that failure gave me strength, that my pain was my motivation. Maybe I led you to believe that basketball was a God-given gift and not something I worked for every single day of my life. Maybe I destroyed the game, or maybe you're just making excuses.
Set, one more rep, just give it everything you got so you can put yourself in the best position to win. When I got into this journey, I was, a little bit bitter because I didn't make it playing Division I basketball, and I was trying to find another outlet. And bodybuilding taught me how to be strong mentally, physically, and emotionally. It taught me how to train hard when no one's in the room, when you're having a bad day, through death, through hardship, through anything that can go wrong. Winning is habitual. If you care about your success more than anyone else in the room, I promise you this, you will be successful at some point in time. It's a marathon, not a sprint, and the measurement of a man is when he gets knocked down, not when he's winning. So I lost a few times. And he always reminded me just to keep on going and be the hardest worker in the room, just like what you say. And when people tell you you can't, you don't look at them. You don't need to look at them. You look in the mirror and you ask yourself, do you give it your all? You look at the mirror and you ask yourself, do you have another rep? You ask yourself, can I go to work when I'm pissed off because I'm about to get fired or something bad happened or lost my girlfriend or whatever it is? You ask yourself, do you have the guts to go after it when no one is watching, no one's patting you on the back, and no one is liking your stuff on freaking social media? If you got the guts to go after it, You can put yourself in best position to win, and that's what I did through this entire prep. It was not easy. A lot of people say, oh, Phil, he's got genetics and this and that. I put that God-given talent to work each and every damn day in the gym. Sometimes life is gonna serve you up some curveballs, but I challenge each and every one of you to step in that batter's box and take a damn swing. Just take a swing.
I'm good at coaching these kids. I'm trained for that. I'm successful at that. I win everywhere I go. That's what I'm good at. This thing over here, this baseball dream, has never, ever worked. I've wanted to play since I was 5. It's never worked. She said, you better listen to phone calls. They wanted me to come back in 2 days and throw again to see if I could actually throw that harder if my arm had fallen off. Because I'm telling my kids they want me to come back and throw again. My kids go, Coach, you told us if we ever had our dream in front of us, you'd chase it no matter what. 2 days later, I go back and throw again. It rained so hard they had to hand me a brand new baseball every pitch. Slamming up to my knee in mud every time I landed, 98 every pitch. Our big league general manager's there. He goes, you can smile, you're gonna be in Texas tomorrow. And I just looked at him and I was stunned. I was like, what? He goes, you're in the big leagues. I'm trying to process how in 3 months I've lost 60 pounds. I've gone from grading papers, science papers, and report cards to autographs and doing interviews. All because of a group of kids who, when I pushed them, they pushed back. They got their coach to go to the big leagues, who couldn't even believe in himself at the time. My grandfather had this saying. Every day I heard it for 3 years, remember who you are. It took me until years later to get what he meant. Remember who you are is simple. Don't do anything you wouldn't have anybody see you do. It's not what you do when you know people are watching that makes you who you are. It's what you do when nobody's watching you at all. That makes you who you are. That's character. That's my grandparents. And if you make it just about you, you're never going to go anywhere. It's when you make it about something bigger than you. Be a mentor for somebody, be a dream maker, be a team player. Nothing is impossible in this world.
If you don't believe in yourself, then who's going to believe in you? And I think that was one of the benefits of being an athlete that was always overlooked, in my opinion. It forced me to work harder. You know, look, I always try to outwork people, right? That's just how I made my mark. So the game was at 7. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come to the Staples Center because we're playing. This is when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq. Okay, this is like the championship Lakers. I was like, you know, I'm gonna get there at 3 o'clock. And I want to make sure I make 400 made shots before I go back into the room, and then I sit in the sauna and I get ready for the game. Who do I see? I see Kobe Bryant, already working out. So once I set my foot across that line, I started working out. And so I worked out for a good hour and a half. And when I came off, after I was done, I sat down, and of course I still heard the ball bouncing. I look down, I'm like, this guy's still working out? So he was working out, like, it looks like he was in a dead sweat when I got here. And he's still going. And it's not like his moves are nonchalant or lazy. He's doing like game moves, you know? I sit there and I unlace my shoes. I'm like, I want to see how long this goes. So I sit out there and watch. Another 25 minutes. And he got done. I said, okay, I think I've seen enough. Go play, you know, come back, get in the sauna, get ready for the game. That game, he drops 40 on us, okay? And after the game is over, I'm like, I have to ask this guy. Like, I have to understand, like, why he works like that. Right. So after the game was over, I'm like, hey, Kobe, like, why were you in the gym for so long? He's like, because I saw you come in. and I wanted you to know that it doesn't matter how hard you work, that I'm willing to work harder than you.
Wow.
You inspire me to be better. Right. And it was the first time I started to see this level of competitiveness where I said, I need to start doing more. Right. Wow. But you never get better if you're not willing to put in the time. And basketball is very similar to the game of life. There's going to be ups and downs. It's not always going to be easy. There are going to be challenges. There's still going to be curveballs thrown at me. But if you put in the work and you constantly put in the work, that's the only way you're going to grow.
First year at that junior college, I sat the bench the entire season. Not one play. I'm watching all the starters get all the attention. I'm watching the coach literally look over me. And I pick up the phone the last game. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, I quit. I said, Mom, I want to come home. I said, Mom, just give me a bus ticket back to Columbus, 22 hours. I can get a job in the plant. I'm gonna be okay, Mama. My mom said, baby, don't do it. She said, baby, hang in there. She said, Shawn, I taught you how to fight. Shawn, I taught you how to war. She said, Shawn, I taught you how to win. I went back to that junior college, man, and I'm watching TV, 3 or 4 guys in a room. I jump up, it's called a Freudian slip. I said, man, I've always wanted to play Division I in NFL football. And one by one, the guy turned down the TV and he said, Shawn, you'll never make it. Shawn, you're not strong enough. Shawn, you're not quick enough. Shawn, you're not even starting now. And I sat down. But when I said the words, play NFL, it connected. It connected with the dream. You might not have nothing around you that validates the dream that's in you. Your friends might not see it. Your family might not see it. Heck, you might not even see it. But when you connect with your dream and you begin to speak your dream, you move into something much, much, much more powerful. It's not creation. It's called manifestation. NFL, that's where I'm going.
I said, but here's what I need you to do for me. I need you to pick me up every Friday night, work me out every Saturday morning, and you can take me back home after that. I don't need any money, I don't need any clothes. I just need to make it to the NFL so I can help my mother and my grandmother. Can you do that? He said, yeah, I got you. And so he picked me up one Friday night, the first Saturday morning. He shakes me, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. I wake up, I'm wiping the cold out of my eyes. He said, little man, you said you wanted it, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, get up, we're running 2 miles to this fire station, 2 miles back home. I said, okay, let's do it. And so he walks by me and he busted a U-turn and he looked up at me. He said, son, I said, yes, sir. He said, I want you to pull that other person outside of you today. No disrespect. I said, but I don't see another person. I said, so I understand we have different lives and you have a job. And so if you're tired, I get it. You can go back in the house and you can go to sleep, but you're not stopping me from running to this fire station. I'm running to this fire station, whether you go or not. And he looked at me and what he said to me, it pierced my heart in such a way. He said, son, what I'm trying to get you to understand is no matter how hard you work, there is somebody on the inside of you that works even harder. He said, no matter how dedicated you are, there is somebody on the inside of you that's more dedicated. No matter how committed you are, there is somebody on the inside of you that's more committed. And you don't even know what commitment is yet. You think commitment is just saying, yes, I'll do it. But what commitment is staying true to what you said you were going to do long after the mood that you have set it in has left. Meaning on the days when you don't feel like doing what you said you would do, you get up and you do it anyway. That's what builds character. And he said, I need you to understand the concept that there's another person on the inside of you, because one day in your life you will face something that's a lot tougher than you, and your strength and your drive and your commitment and your work ethic won't do it. You will have to realize that it's something on the inside of you that's greater than anything that life can throw at you. And immediately I got it. And so when my life changed, not only did my football career end, I got a paralyzed right arm and hand behind me. Life changed overnight. But I was extremely grateful for it, because the whole time I understood that you have to tap into in order to get through one of the darkest, toughest, roughest moments of your life. There's another person on the inside of you.
He knocked my mom out on the top of the stairs. I could see him coming down the stairs, just dragging her. And she was kind of lifeless. And that's when I got off the couch, scared to death, jumped up my father, and he beat the shit out of me. We never went to school hardly at all because we were bruised up. He also believed in just us working the family business. So going to school really didn't happen for me at all. Not only did I take a backseat, I also had a learning disability. I'll never forget in 3rd grade, there was this teacher that was extremely rough on me. And at this time in my life, I did not need this. And she believed I needed to be in a special school because of my learning disability. And this is where I was talking about, people always talk about manage your expectations. This teacher managed my expectations. She saw I had a learning disability. She saw I was socially unable to survive in this world. She saw I was messed up. So she managed my expectations. She said, we need to put David Goggins in a special school. I came from hell. And when you come from hell not knowing how to fight, this is what happens to you. What happens to you is you become a fucked up kid that cannot survive in society. I'll never forget one time during a basketball game, there was this coach, Mr. Trout. He knew me when I was a kid in that school when I was in 3rd grade getting set back. Mr. Trout always loved me. This white man loved the shit out of me. I don't know why he did. but he was my JV basketball coach my sophomore year. The visiting team was at our home stadium. It was at the end of the game, and the visiting team started chanting. I was the only black person in the whole daggone stadium. They started chanting, nigger, nigger, nigger. That's all I remember. At that time in my life, that's all I remember. But now at 42 years old, I can look back on that time with clear eyes and a clear mind and see what Mr. Trout did for me. He went in that locker room where I was crying and upset, and he cried with me. This white man cried with me, but at that time in my life, I didn't see that. All I saw was red. I saw hate. This whole town hated me. Everybody's against me. My mind lost it. And for some reason, I couldn't sleep on my bed. Until this day, I don't know why the floor felt so comfortable. And at 22, 21 years old, I went from 175 pounds to 297 pounds. Fat, out of shape, insecure. I was everything everybody said I was going to be. That's what I was. And it makes you feel like shit. So I got a job spraying for cockroaches at nighttime. Not saying it's a bad job, but I didn't want to do it. So for about 6 months, I went around to your local eatery spraying for cockroaches. This one night I came home, the first thing I do, I walk in my living room, turn the TV on. First thing I do, and then walk back to take a shower. And I would listen to the TV as I was trying to take a shower. This day changed my life. It held me accountable for what I wasn't facing in life. They're going through Navy SEAL training. And I sat down. I came out of the shower and I sat down. Something brought me back to sit down and watch these guys go through hell. I saw a ton of them quitting, ringing the bell. Ringing the bell means you quit Navy SEAL training. I saw them putting their helmet down. This went on through the whole show. And it finally got to the very end. There was about 15 to 20 guys at the very end. And this one statement changed my life. They were all sitting there in their dress whites. And this CO, this commanding officer, stands up in front of these men. And he looked sharp, and I could tell he stood for something. And he said, we live in a world where mediocrity is often rewarded. These men up here detest mediocrity. When you hear a statement like that, it forces you to think about yourself. I wasn't even fucking mediocre. I wasn't anything. I was at the bottom of the barrel of life. I chose the 4-lane highway for my life, the easy route, the route that has gas stations, the route that has fucking signs that say 20 miles to the next service stop. All this shit. I chose that route. Most of us choose the 4-lane highway. When I was born, there was also a shovel over here in the fucking corner. No one wants to go to the shovel. They want to choose the 4-lane fucking highway. That's the nice route. The shovel means you're gonna fucking hurt. The shovel means you're gonna suffer. The shovel means you're gonna hit rock a lot of time. And we all know what digging through rock is like. When you hit a fucking root, you gotta fucking get some more tools out. If I had no more tools, just a fucking shovel. I was choosing the 4-lane highway. This is when I decided to pick up that fucking shovel that we all decide not to take. I had to make a change in my life. So I said, you know what? I have to join the military. I went on a Navy SEAL training. Became the only person I believe in history to go through 3 Navy SEAL Hell Weeks in 1 year. I completed 2 of them. Hell Week is 130 hours of continuous training. You might get 2 hours of sleep. The first few weeks get you ready for this hard 1 week of training. I had to become obsessed. No matter what was in front of me, I had to figure out a way to overcome it. So when things hit you in life that you're afraid of or you're not good at, the first thing you're going to say to yourself is, why am I here anyway? This isn't for me. The water's too cold. The sun's too hot. I'm getting up too early. Why am I doing this to myself? That's what the normal mind says. I had to start training my mind to think about, how the fuck can I get through this? Not giving myself a way out. Never giving myself, creating a wall around all the fucking ways out in my mind. I had to slowly start to build this fucking wall so my mind knew this motherfucker is not gonna give himself a way out of here. In my first Hell Week, I had a huge setback. I was broken. My legs were broken. I had double pneumonia. I got rolled back to day 1, week 1 of Navy SEAL training. I got through that second Hell Week. During the second Hell Week, I actually broke my knee. I continued to limp around for a couple weeks. I couldn't make it anymore. Got rolled back to day 1, week 1. I'll never forget standing there in front of Captain Bowen. He was the CEO in charge of Navy SEAL training at the time. And he had no mercy on anybody. If he believed in managing your expectations, I wouldn't be here today. He challenged me again. I was challenged my whole life, not by the mindset of managing expectations, by exceeding expectations, not by managing them. I'm standing there with crutches. I'm sitting in his office. He looks at me, he goes, Goggins, this is your last time. We're gonna put you through Navy SEAL training. This will be your 3rd Hell Week in 1 year. We're not gonna put you through a 4th. So this is your last time. I'm sitting there thinking, how am I gonna get through this? I'm badly jacked up. My legs are broken. My knee is messed up. And he goes, you have a couple of months to get better. A couple of months isn't gonna do it. I won't get healed up in a couple of months. But I realized I'm gonna get through this shit. I'm gonna find a way to get through it because why? I put barriers in my mind. So my 3rd Hell Week, I went in there with pretty much, I would put a black sock on first. I would get duct tape. And I duct taped my ankles all the way up to my calf every single morning. And then I put another black sock over it. And what that did, that prevented me from moving my ankle. So I didn't really, I wasn't flexing my shin as much. And I started running with just my hip flexors. In this Hell Week, it was a bad Hell Week. We had a guy die on Thursday morning of Hell Week. I went on to become a Navy SEAL. Greatness is not something that you meet once. It's something that you meet thousands of fucking times in your life. And you don't reach it if you're not constantly in constant fucking pursuit of fucking greatness. So if my mind were to say right now, I'm great, I just lost. We're gonna grow. We're not gonna triple down on our strengths. We're not gonna do that crap. We're gonna work on our weaknesses so we grow. We need friction to do that. Without friction, there's no growth. Without friction, there's confusion. Confusion is, David Goggins, how did you become who you are today? I put a bunch of fucking friction in my life. And I grew. That's how I did it. You know how you get mentally tough? It's a lifestyle. Instead of hitting that fucking snooze button in the fucking morning and not making your bed, and not cleaning your house, you don't hit the snooze button. You get up. You don't want to go run, you go run. You don't want to go swim, you go swim. You don't want to make your bed, you make your bed. You don't want to clean your house, you clean your house. You don't want to study, you fucking study. That's how you start to callous your mind. So that became my life. If you say you're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning to go run, wake up at 4 o'clock it's going to suck. It's not going to be fun. Do something that sucks every single day of your life. That's how you grow. Embrace the suck.
And the next morning I walked into the doctor's office. They said, son, what option did you choose? I said, no disrespect to you, doc. I'm not choosing an option. My situation is out of your hands. I said, no disrespect to you, doc. Cut me where you got to cut me. I said, I know I will come out of this situation okay.